Guys, so today I'm going to be teaching on how to hold for various veterinary services, as well as going over some basic training techniques for your dogs. We're going to start with the veterinary services. This is kind of training for technicians as well as for veterinary assistants. So first we're going to go over the basics of holding for our routine services, which is basically holding for vaccinations and exams and stuff like that. So what we're going to do, we're out of concern for our staff and comfort for our pet as well as our doctors. So we want to make sure that we are holding them in a way that makes them comfortable but also protects our staff from getting bitten or seriously injured at the hands of the pet. So what we're going to do first is go around our little friend Lily's head here and make sure that her head is secured away from our technician. She's a little bit squirmy and a little bit nervous. That's normal. A lot of dogs are uncomfortable during an exam process, so we just want to make sure they're comfortable as possible, but we're keeping our technicians and doctors safe. So hold around her neck and just make sure it's secure. Don't hold tightly. Obviously, we don't want to choke them, but we just want to make sure that their neck is secured away from the doctor so they can't whip around and bite anyone, bite yourself, bite anyone like that. And then we're also going to go underneath her body here and make sure she stays standing. This is a secure hold for vaccinations as well as any sort of exam like that, where they would need the pet standing and holding still. Okay guys, now I'm going to teach on how to hold properly for blood work, pulling, any sort of blood work that is necessary where our pets need to be held completely still, just so we don't kind of jab them, rupture any veins, anything like that. So we're going to kind of go the same way that we did with our first technique for basic holding, making sure the pet is standing. So we're going to make sure that she is standing up and hold her underneath. We're going to hold this way as well to keep her head from whipping backwards to bite anyone. Basically from there we take our hand away from underneath because she's already standing, and we come over here and pick up either of her paws. Whatever your dominant hand is typically best. That way we can make sure we're doing this as quick as possible. So we want to make sure her head is being held, and then we pick up her paw and then we just twist on her arm. That makes the vein more evident for the technician who is pulling blood for blood work. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell where the vein is. Sometimes you may have to switch sides, and that's fine, but typically holding the arm like this shows the vein, protrudes the vein. That way a technician can pull blood as well as a doctor if they need to do that as well. There we go. Alrighty, so what we have to do for this hold, it's a little bit different. So what we're going to do is hold underneath her belly. It's a little bit sketchy because we can't hold her neck because it all has to do with the rear. And then from here, we're going to make sure that the base of her tail, we don't pull hard, but we make sure that it's up and active. From there, the technician that is assisting you can either do the anal gland expression, pull for fecal testing if they need to collect it themselves versus having a client bring in the sample. Sometimes it's uncomfortable for the pet, but it's necessary because fecal testing and stuff like that can spread zoonotic diseases, so we definitely want to make sure that we are doing this correctly. So basically you pull up the tail, make sure it's not like stiff up, uncomfortable for the pet, then make sure that they are comfortable as well as secured. From there, the technician can either put anything in internally that they need to do as well as pulling for anal gland expression. So in this final video, I'm going to go over some basic training techniques for dog owners as well as for training professionals that are just getting into the industry. We are going to approach with a less is more kind of philosophy where we are approaching the dog in a way that their parent as like a dog would correct them versus how a human would correct them, which is unfortunately most of the time popping them. They do understand that, but it's kind of, they feel punished versus we're communicating with them, and we want to make sure we're communicating with them versus just punishing them for no reason. Now she's being very good right now. I don't want to give her a correction at all, but I'm going to kind of go over the basic steps on how to do that. So if she's showing any signs of anxiety, like growling, wagging her tail where it's like low to the ground, almost tucked, but still wagging her tail as in she is anxious but wants an interaction negatively, or as well if she has her kind of mohawk going where she's anxious. These are the kind of things that we want to correct because she's showing signs of anxiety. Right now, she's just kind of chilling. She doesn't really care. She's being good. So we don't want to correct this kind of, I guess, emotions that she's kind of having just because
she's being good, and we don't want to correct that. We don't want to negatively reinforce that. We want to make sure she understands that she is doing what she's supposed to be doing, being calm, being collected, being with her parent, and getting belly rubs the way that she wants it. So I'm just going to kind of go over with you on myself, if that makes sense, how to do a basic touch correction in a way that will correct your dogs when they are showing negative behaviors versus positive ones like she's doing right now. So what she's showing you right now, this is her flank. That's what dog trainers would call this. This is the area that they kind of hone in on when they are correcting a dog. We would do touch corrections here that we want to make sure that we are kind of correcting from. So she's showing any signs of corrections, we are going to focus on this area of her body. The basic way to do a touch correction is using all 5 of your fingers and kind of putting them all together like this. And at that point, we're going to go into her flank and very quickly giving her a touch correction. It's almost like, if you can kind of see on myself, like if this was my flank, if I was a dog, we are just going to go really quickly. Very quickly, very fast. We want to make sure it's maybe like half a second that your hand is on their body, giving them the correction, communicating with them what they're doing is wrong. We also want to make sure that we are using the voice correction where the right there, that kind of explains to them like, hey, I shouldn't be doing this. I need to get out my anxiety. I need to understand that I am the alpha, as in myself is the alpha, and she is the beta. I am the pack leader, she is not. And that's the things that we are going to be communicating when she is showing signs of anxiety, because she's showing you that she doesn't trust you. Right now, she's showing her belly, she's showing me that she trusts me. So I don't want to correct this behavior because it's a positive one.